they can respond to signals over minutes, many minutes, very slow. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then the second is their transduction mechanism is actually different, fundamentally different than rhodopsin and conopsins. Um, so I don't know if you want to get into that, but
I don't know if we need to get into the mechanics of that, but at the end of the
right.
day, what do these properties enable the cell to do that the others cannot?
Yeah, so it turns out that these photoreceptors are really ideally tuned to the type of signal that the clock needs to respond to in the environment,
Yeah.
meaning um, light that's bright, high
Hmm.
threshold,
Yep.
but also is around for a while,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so daylight is around for many
Right. Right.
hours.
And
It's not
daylight's very bright, so these neurons sort of care about bright light. They don't care about softer light, and they don't need to care about faster signals. That's why they have the slower integration time, because they actually
that
don't want to care about faster signals like a lightning bolt, as you said.
exactly
I see.
right.
What is like that type of stuff like, right? So if you think about this intuitively, a lot of this should make sense for listeners, I hope. Right, when we're looking around, our cones, our color vision cells, they need to be very fast because you need to see stuff happening quickly. Their circadian rhythms don't need to be as fast. They want to, the sun changes slowly and continuously throughout the day. It's very bright. They're sort of, these melanopsin cells we were just talking about are tuned to that type of change. When we think about all of these things, these different time scales of the different photoreceptors, how they're tuned to different intensities of light. You mentioned that these melanopsin cells that are important for circadian regulation, they're high threshold cells. They need intense light to be affected strongly. How does this start to help us think about things like the artificial light environment that humans are
Hmm.
now engaged with? So, it's great that a lightning bolt, which is very transient but bright, doesn't throw off my whole rhythm, because if you live anywhere with lightning around, that that would be really annoying. But now we have things like cell phones and computers, which can be quite bright and can be non-transient. Some people will stare at them for a long time,
Hmm.
even when the sun is down. How does the timing and stuff you were just talking about connect with how modern artificial light is impacting our circadian biology?
Yeah, so modern artificial light has a huge impact on our circadian rhythms because we're artificially extending the day into the night with artificial lighting. Um, the other factor is the wavelength. So these new melanopsin cells tend to be sensitive to blue light
Hmm.
and not to red. Okay. And so uh, there's been a clear emphasis on the wavelength spectrum, how much blue light versus other wavelengths, longer wavelengths,
Yeah.
are effective in synchronizing our rhythms or in keeping us awake at night. And so, for example, you're probably familiar that your iPhone or your iPad may have the ability to change the wavelength of the screen. It's called night shift.
Yeah.
It it makes the colors more reddish
Hmm.
in the evening. And the reason for that is those longer wavelengths are less effective in affecting your clock
Hmm.
uh, than bright blue light or white light.
Hmm.
And so, uh, and it is true. I mean, it does impact us.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that stuff definitely works. The night shift mode, being sensitive to the amount of blue light coming out of the screens at different times of day.
yeah, as long as the intensity is low.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So if the intensity, was long wavelength but still bright, it would still reset your clock.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you can't just wear blue light glasses. You can't just put on night shift on your computer. If it's bright light in your face in the evening when the sun is down and you should be gearing up for sleep, that will still throw things off.
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so intensity and color both matter.
Hmm. Yeah. Now, one thing that has been discovered, which is really quite amazing to me, is that uh, during development in both people and in mice, exposure to shorter wavelengths of light actually affect the development of the eye.
Hmm.
And when mice or people are not exposed to blue light or natural sunlight when they're young, the eyeballs become more elongated.
Yeah, yeah. Physically, the whole eyeball.
Yeah. And when your eyeball's elongated, it makes you nearsighted.
Yeah,
And so, for example, in Korea, the um, proportion of individuals who are nearsighted is huge
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and has this has increased over many decades, even in the United States. And it's because we don't really spend that much time outside anymore.
yeah. So it's funny, when you start to learn about all of the biology here, the photobiology, the circadian biology, all of the stuff related to what the eye does and how it works and how it develops. I always just kind of I think back to my childhood and like the stereotype of the mother who was like, "Don't sit too close to the TV, go outside and play," and
Mhm.